For some of you, this might be the first time that you see all of your debt payments in one place.
Is to make the powerful shift to paying yourself first. We're not going to wait until the end of the month. We're not going to spend and then see we've got a little bit left over. Now we want to save. Now we want to invest. No.
Hear me say this. All of these get listed separately in your budget.
Most people don't fail at budgeting because they're bad with money. They fail because their system is unrealistic. They think budgeting is about perfection, but it's not. Budgeting is simply about being aware. Welcome back to the Understanding Money podcast. We exist to empower people toward financial freedom with hope for the future. We work hard to produce a sub 20-minute episode, and if this episode is valuable to you, we would really appreciate it if you could like, subscribe, share with a friend so that we can get the message out. And the reason for this is that will help us to produce better content and help more people, which is ultimately our goal. So getting back to today's episode, today we're going to be diving a bit deeper and talking about the importance of budgeting. We are going to explain how to actually build a budget. And it's way easier than you might think. So what do I need to do to make this budgeting thing work? Grab a pen, piece of paper, or maybe grab your laptop, open up Excel, and let us guide you through it. And before we start, pause the video, maybe download 3 months of bank statements, have that with you, especially if this is your first time doing an exercise like this. You will need that reference point for what is coming and to be certain where your money is going. Starting at the beginning, step 0 if you would, you have to choose a starting date. Reason for this? You don't always receive your income on the same date, or if you do, it's most likely not the first of the month. So choose a start date for your budget. That way, your month-to-month tracking will be more accurate, comparing apples to apples when it comes to what you spend. For example, this is quite uncommon, but I get paid on the 20th of the month. So my budget does not run from the 1st to the 31st, but rather from the 20th until the 19th. So yeah, that's why we're choosing a start date. Then step 1, know your actual income, not your cost to company, not the amount that your manager loves to remind you that you're getting paid. We're talking about take home pay, not the big amount. This is the amount that hits your bank account after all your tax, all your deductions, and essentially the money that you now have to spend or that you should be stewarding. In the event that your income fluctuates on a monthly basis because you have some commission or a side hustle, use the minimum viable amount you can live off. If you don't know what that is, let's build the budget from the bottom up using the past 6 months worth of expenses to determine what that viable amount would be. If you know some of your expenses are too high, let's remember that we're trying to get our minimum viable income. Remember to add some margin as well. This will take time to perfect, but the most important thing is we just need to start somewhere. And why do we say that the minimum viable is so important? Because budgeting off your best month is a sure way to get into trouble. And that's not why we're here. We're here for longevity. We are looking for consistency. We're looking to give you control of your finances. And that's why we err on the side of caution. So we use the minimum viable income so that we don't bloat income and that we don't bloat expenses. And then the other side of the coin is everything made over and above that's a bonus. It helps build margin and it can go towards all the various type of financial goals that you might have. Martin, tell us what's next.
So step 2 is giving and generosity. As we go through the steps, you'll see that the steps align with the priorities in our budget. First things first, that's the idea we're trying to live by here. And for us, step 2 is giving and generosity. Ruan and I are Christians, so we tithe. We tithe at 10% of our income, give it to the church. The principle we are trying to live by is laid out in Proverbs 3, verse 9 to 10. It says, honor the Lord with your wealth, with the first fruits of all of your increase. Then your barns will be filled to overflowing, and your vats will brim over with new wine. The idea here is that for us, we believe the Lord can do more with the 90 in our lives than we can do with the 100. Now, it's based off of your own convictions, if you want to tithe off of gross or your net income. But it forces you to ask the question, what role does money play in my life? Now, if you're not a Christian and you're out of debt and you have overflow, we still encourage you to add generosity in your budget, giving something to a cause that's close to your heart. Because generosity is one of the most fun things you can do with money that really adds significant value to your life as well. Generosity says that I'm other focused, not just self focused, which is a big thing for anyone, regardless of your beliefs or your faith standing. So generosity we put first. Then secondly, is we going to pay off our debt. Well, first let me preface, when it comes to giving, for Ruan and I, our conviction is that we give whether we're in debt or not. We aren't in debt at the moment, but even when we were, we still give because the principle applies. Step 3, paying off all our debt. So we're going to list our debt, smallest to largest, going off of the payments. We want to see every single debt payment we are making. And for some of you, this might be the first time that you see all of your debt payments in one place, which might, and hopefully it does, scare you and encourage you to actually get out of it and to attack this. Now, we will get into a future episode where we explain how you can attack your debt and get free from it. But for now, for the sake of this purpose of explaining how the budget works, we're just going to talk about the types of debt that you need to list here, which pretty much includes everything, but here is a non-exhaustive list. Your car payment, your mortgage or your bond payment for your house, personal loan, your overdraft, your credit card, your clothing account or retail store accounts, like your Fushini, your Woolies, those payments go here. Buy now, pay later, your float or pages now, whatever it may be, all of these payments go here. Buy now, pay later, that is deemed as debt. Revolving facility that some banks also give you. All of these payments, again, it's not an exhaustive list, but this is the example of debt payments we're going to list. And we're going to list every single one because ultimately we want to see them being scratched off the list as time goes on. So, Ruan, after listing our debt, what's next?
So after listing the debt and having that clarity, we move on to step 4, which is paying yourself first. 2 components can be investing, saving, a combination. That's not really important right now. What is to make the powerful shift to paying yourself first. We're not going to wait until the end of the month. We're not going to spend, and then see we've got a little bit left over. Now we want to save. Now we want to invest. No, we want to budget with intention. We want to be intentional about moving forward financially. And that's what's important. It's the intention. It's not the amount. Before you spend on anything, allocate money to savings or investments, even if it's just 5%. Don't despise small beginnings. It could be anything, just as long as that line item is there, as long as you're paying yourself first. And as I mentioned, we do this because if we wait until the end of the month to save, there will be nothing left. Talking from experience. That is why we pay ourselves first. So now that we have that line item in the budget, what kind of savings or investments are we talking about? This could go towards your emergency fund. We could use that money to save for a deposit on a house or a car. It's probably a nice holiday around the corner. You maybe saw some nice shoes. Point being, whatever you're spending on, we're being proactive and we're putting some money away so that we don't use debt to finance the shoes or the holiday or whatever it might be. Also, we want to invest. Perhaps you're looking at a retirement annuity, a tax-free saver, unit trust, ETFs, you name it. Maybe you love the property game and you're looking at an investment property, whatever it might be, or saving for annual expenses. The car service is around the corner, might need new tires, maybe the house got some maintenance that needs to be done. So that is where those funds will be going. And we'll dive into savings and investments and the strategies that one could use in the future. But for now, what's important to note is pay yourself first. And having paid ourselves first, Martin, tell us a bit more about expenses.
Yeah, step 5. Let's get into our expenses. So there are 2 categories of expenses. We have our fixed expenses, your monthly commitments that stay the same, they don't vary, and also our variable expenses. Some are essential, some are non-essential, but this is ones that vary, they change month on month. Some less than others, but this is where control really needs to be practiced. But let's get into fixed expenses first. So what fixed expenses are we thinking about here? Now, again, not an exhaustive list, but we're thinking about rent and utilities, which is often our biggest fixed expense. Insurance and life cover, medical aid, school fees, gardening fees, a cleaner, phone contracts, whether it's for you or your family, Wi-Fi, gym, other memberships, maybe you're part of some club, subscriptions. We want to list every single membership and subscriptions because often there's a lot of waste in these areas which we can cut. Subscriptions we aren't using that you maybe don't even know about. And that's where your bank statement can come in handy to see what actually goes off of my bank. And other types of fixed expenses can exist, but this is probably the most common ones considering our context. So as I said, these don't fluctuate monthly. And this actually determines how fragile your financial life is. The higher the fixed cost, the less flexible you can be when life happens, the less disposable income you actually have. So interesting way to view your fixed expenses is that this is the amount of income you've spent before you've even lived. Now we get into our variable expenses, your disposable income, if you may. Again, not an exhaustive list, but examples are groceries, eating out, coffees, takeaways, and hear me say this, all of these get listed separately in your budget. We're not going to just group it under food and drink. That is where you make stupid decisions and you make decisions like I'm going out tonight rather than making food for myself. No, we are listing what are we spending on groceries, what are we spending on eating out, takeaways, coffees, clothes, motor vehicle expenses like a service or tires, fuel, gifts for people, travel, vacations, trips, flights, all of these things included here. Self-care, you need to go and cut your hair, or you need to do your nails or eyebrows. Some miscellaneous budget for the odd thing or two. Often you have months that something you didn't expect came across and now you need to have this expense, and that's okay. That's okay. We're going to budget a bit of miscellaneous money as well. Doctor's appointments or co-payments, medicine you need every month, date night, that's part of it. And then also toiletries. So you can probably think of a few more, but that will cover most of it. And these are the flexible expenses, but these are the dangerous expenses. This is the area of biggest caution as part of your budget. This is where you need to control. This is where you need to manage well. This is where you need to make decisions on the go. Fixed expenses is done. Rent needs to be paid. But the variable expenses, you make the choice every month. What am I eating this month? Where am I going to eat out? This is where you can actually save a bit as well. So think about what are the variable and fixed expenses in your life. List them and see, what do I actually need? Where am I overspending? What's necessary for me?
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Martin. So now that we know all these things, that we know how to budget, where do we move from there? Just start. Take a look at the Excel template that we've got on the screen. And if you want this template, pop us a mail and we'll send it to you. And then you can use that to build your own. You can play around with it, obviously add your expenses if they're not listed there, take away on which you don't spend. And then now that you know your expenses using the template, subtract it from your income and have a look at what is my margin. Go over to the debt, have a look at all your debt in one place and get an idea of how much you actually owe and what you're actually paying on the monthly basis. And from there, just start building the budget muscle. Doesn't have to look pretty at the start, but you will get much more comfortable and better as time goes on. So just start the budget, track the actuals, and be in charge of your finances. With that being said, if you have any questions or if there's any topics that you'd like us to address, please let us know. Connect with us on social media, comment, email in. If you want to know where you can do that, the link tree will be down below. Bye for now.